seeing anything in the chat, or is it me, or it's nobody's yet started? Okay. Hi, Asha Priya. Okay, there we see. Rani from Chennai, good evening, welcome. Hi, Deepthi, Lata. Lovely to see some of the old names, some new names. Hi, Parna. Okay, now it's going fast. I think it's difficult for me to catch pace. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Aspire for Her. How is everyone's spirit today? What is it that you're looking out new from today's session? If you can put it over here, that would be really, really great. Hi, Hiral. Okay, there's Srilata from Bangalore, Shailaja from Gurgaon. I see people from all over India. Fantastic. Yes, college students as well, career reboot. Okay, I see a lot of members who've joined in. Good to see new faces as well as some of the old faces. So let's get started. Good evening and welcome one and all. I'm Ruchita and I'm one of your co-hosts for today. We welcome you all to a celebration of women in technology and innovation. As usual, before we start, we have a few housekeeping rules. Since we all are meeting virtually, you may take down some notes and please keep a pen and paper handy. Stay on till the end because all your questions are going to be answered. We are all joining virtually and hence in case of technical difficulties like connection issues, please bear with us, be engaged, curious and respectful. As usual, when we start with our sessions at Aspire for Her, we want to hear where you all are from and hence, please do engage with the poll so that we know a little bit about yourselves. May I request my team to launch the first poll? Okay, do we have the first poll? Okay. Which of the category describes you best? Are you a student or recent graduate, working professional, entrepreneur, women leader, or you're from return to work? And I see all this moving really fast. Okay, I see most of you happen to be on a career break. Good amount of women professionals also, that's good to see. Entrepreneurs, women leaders. Okay, I think that's good enough. We can move ahead. Thank you so much. We all know today that India is going digital from the way we work to the way we live. We are seeing information technology drive significant transformation at various levels. This includes individual, organization, and macroeconomic level. But then, how is digital skilling working? Because digital skills are providing immense economic value to India's employers and workers, raising the GDP, boosting revenue growth and innovation, and increasing wages and jobs. That is why investment in digital skilling certainly helps in increased revenue growth. There is a slight amount of data that I would like to share. 97% of Indian organizations say that digital skills will be very important or extremely important for their businesses over the next 5 years. 88% of the employers find it very challenging to hire the digital workers they need, and 40% of them say that this is due to the shortage of qualified applicants. In order to overcome the challenge, on December 10th, 2021, AFH and AWS partnered through SheDares for every woman who wished to pursue a career in technology using our 5-point model EQ is equal to MCQ. Over the course of the partnership, the community strength grew to 66,844 members. The highlight of the partnership was 5 restart cohorts for training women on a career break in cloud technology, followed by access to employment opportunities to certified graduates. There was a physical event that was held in Mumbai on this year, which was attended by Francesca Vasquez, VP Customer Experience and Technology, Ben Cabanas, Director APJ Solution Architecture, Vaishali Kasture, and Amit Mehta. But before we dive into the exciting program, let's take a moment to highlight some of the incredible moments we've experienced through SheDares 2022. Can we have the video, please? Thank you. Thank you so much for this. I think each one of us can share a small reaction for all the hard work that's put in by Team AWS for sharing all their opportunities, and for our members for participating and actually taking all these opportunities to their use. With this, we'd like to move ahead, and I to invite our founder and CEO, Madhura DasGupta Sinha. Over to you, Madhura.
Thank you so much, Ruchita. That video actually took me back to December 2021, when we started the journey with AWS. We could not really have asked for better partners in creating a new ecosystem for the country. So thank you very much, Andrew, Amit, Rani, Deepthi, and the entire AWS team who has walked with us on this journey. It is my pleasure and privilege to launch Tech4Her today in a bigger, better, stronger avatar for the year 2023.
Thank you so much, Madhura. That was really, so we now have Tech for Her as the new community, which we are launching today and moving forward. Moving on, I'd now like to, we need to move into our panel discussion, and I'd like to invite my co-host, Deepthi, over here. Our panel has actually joined us from different parts of the world and at different time zones. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I would now want to talk a little about Deepthi. Deepthi currently works as a senior program manager at Amazon Web Services India and brings over 18 years of experience in delivering global programs in strategy, tech enablement, innovation, and change management. She is passionate about making the workforce future ready through emerging tech learning and adoption. Deepthi is a strong advocate for women in tech, a mentor, and a leadership development coach. She holds a master's degree in international business and has played various roles at Deloitte Consulting before joining AWS. Outside of work, she enjoys art, museums, yoga, and exploring new adventures. Welcome to Aspire for Her, Deepthi. I'd also like to share a little about Deepthi. This is my own personal experience. The last 2 months, we've been interacting, and I must tell that Deepthi is really, really passionate about women in technology and has been really trying very hard to get in as many resources as she can. So over to you, Deepthi. Welcome once again.
Thank you, Ruchita, and very likewise, I feel exactly the same working with Aspire for Her in the last couple of months. And it's my absolute privilege today to be here, which I don't take it lightly, to have such incredible individuals who have made significant contributions to the tech industry and specifically to women in technology. And a very warm welcome to Tech for Her Trailblazers chat. And if I may call, these are the OGs of Tech for Her Trailblazers. With us today, we have Madhura DasGupta, CEO, founder of Aspire for Her. We have Andrew Sklar, Director of AWS Training and Certification for Asia Pac and Japan. Amit Mehta, Head of AWS Training and Certification India and South Asia. And Rani Birchmore, Regional Leader for AWS Restart Program, Asia Pac and Japan. Madhura, I will start with you, with your introduction and dive into your questions. As a founder, CEO of Aspire for Her, and you have a remarkable 25-year career in the banking, holding leadership positions at renowned institutions like IDFC, Standard Chartered, ANZ Greenlace Bank. You bring extensive expertise to the table. You hold an MBA degree from the XLRI and an electrical engineering degree from Jadavpur University, demonstrating exceptional educational background and work background. Since the inception of Women's Day, Aspire for Her inception in Women's Day 2020, Aspire for Her has grown rapidly under your leadership, not only in India, but across the globe. This unique startup is dedicated to empowering young women and inspiring them to enter and thrive in the workforce. So Madhura, with this kind of background and with the experience that you have in the India workforce and the India economy, as the CEO and founder of Aspire for Her, how is India landscape changing in the last couple of years for women who are aspiring to be in workforce and especially in tech careers?
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Deepthi. I'm sure I don't deserve too much of it. And I'm not sure I can be called a trailblazer because the strength of Aspire for Her truly lies in our overall community. Today, our community is about 250,000 strong. And, over the last couple of years, we have seen some very, very interesting developments. We have seen our community welcome our eCube is equal to MCCube model very warmly. As you know, eCube, it stands for employment, entrepreneurship, or education, which leads to one of these two. And that's where we want every woman in India to be. We want to add 1 million women to the workforce by 2025, and we firmly have our sights set to get there. Our community understood the power of mentorships. Our community understood the power of learning. And more importantly, our community understood the concept of pursuing an excellent career, keeping the focus and getting there. But most importantly, I think our community understood the power and the energy behind building a true community and the fact that they were not alone. So I think technology has always been a bit of a magic world, especially for women, because often the world of technology has kept them excluded. But what SheDares did for us and what AWS did for us is to actually demystify that for them. So for them, entering the SheDares community or entering the magic world of AWS learning was almost like entering Hogwarts. And that's what we saw. And suddenly, the fear of technology, the fear of the unknown, the fear of stepping into a world which seemed to be very male-dominated, sort of changed and it dissolved. And thank you, Dipali, for getting the reference. But suddenly we realized that they were almost becoming like wizards. Not all of them became wizards. Some of them just entered Hogwarts and were probably just sort of enjoying the resources and enjoying the ecosystem that AWS provided. But we realized that a lot of them were firmly on their way to move away from their adversities, to move away from the challenges that life had thrown at them. And they were actually looking at recreating the magic in their career. So that's the change that we saw, Deepthi, and the stories are so powerful. We've seen women with very, very difficult backgrounds when they were in the darkest corners of their lives, emerge from there through AWS learning and find purpose and find their vision for their careers. So we have been incredibly fortunate to be a part of this partnership, and especially to be a part of rewriting so many career tracks. So that's what I would say, Deepthi. That's what has changed. And I think today in India, whether it is women just entering the workforce or women entering the tech workforce, whether they are from a tech background or not, whether they have done engineering or not, whether they have any exposure or not, the whole inclusive embrace of AWS, of SheDares, has actually welcomed them into what we'd love to call our own Hogwarts.
Well, that's phenomenal. I think the amount of work that your team has put together and all the collaborations you were able to garner, I think it's phenomenal work, Madhura. In lines of it, as an advocate for providing equal opportunities for women, what has been your experience working with the corporate India? I've seen you have so many collaborators, you have so many organizations coming forward to support you. What has been your experience so far, and where else do you think corporate India can support you?
Like everywhere else, there are two Indias, Deepthi, even in the world of corporate India.
Yeah.
One part of India, which probably is still discovering the power of diversity, still discovering the financial and the other benefits that their own organizations can unleash. The $1 trillion opportunity that McKinsey talks about, if there's just 10% more women in the workforce, they're still sort of discovering the power of it, and they probably are not completely on the path to welcome the change. And there's the other India. And that includes organizations like yours, that includes a lot of other wonderful partners. You saw some of their names on the slides, who have understood that the way to actually enter the Indian market, the way to consolidate themselves in the India market, is to welcome more women in the workforce, is to welcome more diversity in the workforce, not necessarily only women. They are the ones who walk with us on this journey. And we have been privileged, we have been honored to work with many of them with deep projects and through a very, very wonderful understanding of how the entire ecosystem of the country can change. So, I'd like to end by saying, what is my vision for women in the workforce? And, by just quoting a line from my favorite poet, and we celebrated his birthday just a few weeks ago. And, a lot of that work has been done, Deepthi, by you and your entire team. So I'd like to really dedicate this to Andrew, Amit, Rani, you, Prateek, and a whole lot of your team members who work behind the scenes. So the India that we're looking for our women is something like this, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, and where the world has not been broken up into segments by narrow domestic walls. That's the India that we look forward to, and we want you to walk with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhura. And it puts a huge responsibility on corporate India, including us. And I'm tempted to quote Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep and miles to go before I sleep. Thank you, Madhura. Andrew, I would like to now come to you. Before I ask your questions, I would love to introduce you to our audience here. Andrew Sklar is the Director of AWS Training and Certification for Asia, Pacific, and Japan, responsible for delivering and scaling cloud skilling programs to learners and organizations across the region. Andrew is based in Sydney, joined AWS in May of 2020. He has a passion for empowering technology professionals from tech-curious to experienced developers to innovate using the cloud. Andrew's experience spans both public and commercial sectors. Andrew began his career in the United States Air Force as an intelligence officer for Special Forces. Prior to AWS, he worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers Australia on cloud transformation strategies. Andrew, your first question. What inspired AWS to take up the ambitious goal of training 29 million people around the world to grow their tech skills with free cloud computing skills training by 2025? It's a lofty goal, I must say this. How do you see India contributing to this goal?
Well, thank you very much for the very kind introduction, and beyond that, for inviting me to join this fantastic group of individuals today. And community groups like this are only as powerful as the members of the community. And I love the work that Madhura is doing, but I'll equally say that these types of community groups are driven by those who belong in them. And myself and Madhura or anybody else that's leading this could be replaced. And I think each of us would equally look for the same type of passion. And so the reason I mention that is that these engagements, these opportunities that you have in front of you to go and learn only become powerful if you share them with one another and others who you feel can be supported and learn. This is this specific one is a women-driven, women-enabled, women-empowered one, but that doesn't mean that others who are out there looking to learn can also take advantage of these things. And part of that 29 million is a recognition of the massive need that many people in the world have around updating their own skills, their own learning, trying to make a better opportunity for themselves or their families or those around them. And so the 29 million goal is a reflection of a very small number of the opportunities that we feel Amazon has a responsibility to enable as part of one of our leadership principles of providing, we're kind of reach and scale. We have broad responsibility to be able to provide opportunities for others. I've shared a link just now, which is a free access to AWS skills and learning. So it's called Skill Builder. And where India plays a role, if you take a step back and think about the numbers we're talking about in India, 301 million. 301 million is the number of people who are in technical or digital related roles in India alone, just the active workforce today, 301 million. 415 million. That is the number of people actively in some sort of an educational system today in India. The role that India plays in 29 million people getting trained, look at those numbers. I mean, just from a sheer percentage alone, the amount of people seeking technical skills and talent in India is astronomically larger than anywhere else in the world. And I feel like for a country that constantly reinvents and aspires to improve their community, themselves, and others around them, what better place to sharpen that sort of opportunity than in India? And I don't think there is one in the world. So, I think coming here, I'm always inspired when I come to India. It's one of the most resilient, fast-paced, moving, and innovative places that I've ever visited in my life. And it's always impressive to see the speed at which innovation happens here. So if there's nothing else that we can do as Amazon, it's enable and empower and make available the types of skills and learning that allow anyone to gain the knowledge that they need to go seek the job or opportunity that they have or that they would desire. So that link that I posted in there, that's free training. You can sign up for an account in there. Obviously, we have the Aspire for Her program, the Tech4Her program that we're launching today. I encourage you to take advantage of both. There's over 600 free learning courses on Skill Builder in multiple languages that are available to anyone in the world. So lean in, learn for yourself, and take advantage of the programs that are in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Skill Builder is one of our best tools that can contribute to the training 29 million people worldwide. And I highly encourage all the women on this call to sign up and take advantage of 600 plus digital courses we have over there. Jumping to the second question, Andrew, in your experience across Asia, Pacific, and Japan, what differentiates our partners and customers who invest in building a diverse talent pool versus organizations that don't invest? Oftentimes, creating a diverse pool of talent is the most difficult thing to do, but customers who take the time, partners who take the time versus who don't, in your opinion, what have you seen across APJ?
It's a great question. It's a remarkable difference of appearance. No pun intended, but the way they show up and the way that they have diversity of thought and how they do coding, and the way that if you think about running an application with user acceptance testing or usability testing, and you've got a whole bunch of people who look alike in a room versus a diverse group, you end up creating things that are not holistic or not well-rounded. Companies that encourage diversity of thought, encourage diversity in all ways, ultimately encourage their own employees and their teams to gain or get to a better result faster, because they are encouraging that diversity of how they get to the end result or the end solution, not only through how they actively encourage discussion, but the fact that people who are coming from various varieties of backgrounds bring that unique perspective into how they actually operate and work on a daily basis. Some of the companies that I've seen, I think today is a great example. We went and met with Paytm, and Paytm here in India has taken a very, very focused mindset around diversity of hire with new onboarding, skilling opportunities made available as people come on board. And you can see it in how they've launched products that are deeply meaningful, not only for India now, but for the rest of the world, in terms of how they consider and make available easy and rapid payment processes for millions and millions of people on a daily basis. So, I'd encourage you to keep looking for those companies that are seeking out that diverse way of thinking, the diversity from a gender perspective, diversity from a background perspective, diversity from a sexual orientation perspective, all of those points of equality that are deeply meaningful and that I'm passionate about championing every day, really make a much, much better employer for anyone to go and work for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think very well said. And I think the Howard University and the other larger universities in the world have always come up with statistics that say a diverse pool of talent helps organizations grow multifold. Thank you, Andrew, for that. And I would now like to request you to announce the launch of our Restart 2023 cohort. In your presence, I think this will be a great announcement for India today.
Absolutely. So I am very, very pleased to be able to go and announce the opening of the AWS Restart program. So the first cohort of 2023. So welcome and congratulations. We just declare the AWS Restart program open.
Thank you, Andrew. And I think Aditi is sharing the slide.
Yep, it's there with fireworks. I think it just loaded all the benefits of doing things via Zoom, right? So team, I'm really excited to say that, for this one, we've got over 500 people that applied to be part of the cohort. 60 of those 500 have made the program. it's an overwhelming response. And, I think there's a lot more that we can be doing to support the rest of those numbers that were not included in this first cohort, right? So trust me, we're going to be doing more and more in this space. So please keep tuned. Please keep close to this. That first cohort will begin on the 5th of June, and we couldn't be more excited to welcome those first 16. Over to you, Deepthi.
Thank you, Andrew. And next, I would like to invite our Trailblazers Tech4Her Trailblazers chat. I would like to invite Rani Birchmore. Rani, before I go ahead and ask you questions, I'll introduce you to the audience here. Dr. Rani S. Birchmore is a highly accomplished leader with over 20 years of experience in the tech sector in the Asia-Pacific region. She has a proven record of building effective ecosystems for sustainable growth and education transformation, and is currently at the forefront of the global AWS Restart program in the APAC region, leading its strategy, execution, and growth. Prior to her current role, Dr. Birchmore held the position of Education Director for Microsoft. Through her leadership, she successfully led the digital transformation of these organizations and provided employability skills to over 700,000 students. With her passion for technology and skills development, Dr. Birchmore is a champion of education and career development. Welcome, Rani. Welcome, Rani, to the Trailblazers OG chat. I would like to refer to this as the OG. So a question for you. As a woman business leader in AWS, what are some of the opportunities and challenges out there for women returning to careers or aspiring STEM graduates? What is it that you see in the media today, in the scene today?
Thank you, Deepthi. I'm going to say a few words before I answer that question, and that is to say thank you so much for having me here. And I feel like my baby is crawling and walking, because I know the program, AWS Restart program, started end of 2021, and you guys were at the forefront of making this available to this diverse audience. So my sincere gratitude for what you have been able to make happen for this large number of women who otherwise would not have an opportunity. So from the deepest part of my heart, thank you very much. To answer your question about challenges and opportunities, let me talk a little bit about the challenges first, and I'll talk from my experience and why I'm here and why I'm so passionate about this. And it will echo what Madhura mentioned and also what Andrew touched upon. I think some of the challenges that we still see, and I saw as I was coming into the industry, was very much the gender bias and the stereotyping. I remember walking into board meetings in the early 90s, and I would be the only woman and I'll be talking to people and they wouldn't even look at me because I'm talking about digital transformation all those time, and technology didn't equate to a woman in the board meeting. And you go through that and you realize it's not because people are mean, it's just people have those unconscious biases in them. And so that would be one of the biggest challenges that I had to face, and not take it personally, but also take it upon myself to educate people in a nice way that they come back, right? So it's got a lot to do with the way we use terminology and all of that. So that is one big challenge. As a woman and a mother, my biggest other challenge was work-life balance. Everyone talks about work-life balance, but to actually make work-life balance work, you really need to have not a work and a life, but a merged environment for me. And that's how I successfully traverse that even today, right? When you're prioritizing what you need to do. So that was the second biggest thing that I faced. The other is, in those days, there was a lack of role models and representation. I tell you what, I am so excited to see what Aspire4Her is doing, because this was one thing that challenged me 15, 20 years ago. And yet now I see the opportunities are so huge, because we women always come together as a community to help other women. And we do that with the right intentions, right? So I think everyone here on the call should take every opportunity to leverage those role models and the mentoring and the opportunities that Aspire4Her gives. Now, one other biggest challenge was the limited access and opportunities and resources. Women faced barriers when it came to accessing, actually getting through the door, right? And that is actually being held by the intense demand for these roles that Andrew talked about. Right now, there is a demand. There is no, we are getting the people need the people, and whether it's a man or a woman, there's demand. So we should be surfing this wave as much as we can, and because it's an opportune time. And the last one was a little close to my heart, and I think Madhura, you said this, and I will paraphrase it slightly differently. We women go through imposter syndrome, and I had this every single time. I go into a board and I'm talking about technology, and I feel like a fraud. I used to feel like a fraud because I was the only woman there, right? Did I belong? And because we are very reflective by nature, we often don't give ourselves the credit that we know more than we sometimes think we do, because the inner critic is always complaining. And I had to overcome that. And I still do in some cases, right? So it's a growth thing. So I would say those are the challenges. And alongside is the opportunities, the increased demand that I talked about, the supportive initiatives and programs and focusing on diversity that Andrew talked about. There are many, many programs for us to leverage and get help from, to actually see through the door, walking through the door and putting ourselves in those roles and telling ourselves that we can make that happen because we can. And this group is an excellent example. Deepthi, you are everyone here is an excellent example of that. And I think the one thing that I will say to the final opportunity is that we women have an opportunity and a responsibility to be in these areas, because when you are creating solution in the digital world, if our voice is not heard, the solutions are not built for us.
Right.
So I think the opportunity is entrepreneurship and innovation. So we can get there and we put our voice in so that we can help future, immediately and in the future, all women, because solutions that are being made needs to be catered for us. And we are the best people to actually say what is required. So those are the opportunities.
Very, very well said, Rani, and very clearly laid out. And I must share my experience here. Through my 18 years of career, I've had male allies who've supported me. I had women leaders who mentored me. Without whose help I wouldn't have been here. And I think one of the biggest lessons I have personally is to always ask for what you want, because nobody else is going to ask for you. So very lovely and well said, Rani. I'll just move on to the next question for you.
If I can just interject for 30 seconds here, Deepthi. And Rani, loved hearing you. And this is the first time that you have been on our platform at Aspire for Her. I can assure you that we want to see more and more of you. But I'd like to give a big shout out to Pratik Agarwal here.
Yes.
And Pratik has been championing Restart. And there are people here in this room, in this Zoom room, who are truly, truly indebted and grateful for the work that Pratik has done. He has worked silently behind the scenes, and truly a big shout out to one of the strongest allies that we could have. Of course, Andrew, Amit have been at the forefront, but just wanted to give a shout out to Pratik Agarwal here.
Hey, Pratik, if your camera's not on, it should be. You should be on camera and saying hi. There you go. Don't be shy, buddy.
He was working 10 minutes ago, no, 15 minutes ago, giving me updates on what needs to be done. He's execution.
Ronnie, it's okay. Ronnie, it's just like Amit for me. We all know who the real power behind Restart is. And Pratik, like, we get it.
100% agree. Pratik is a silent warrior behind the screens, getting the magic done.
Thank you so much.
All right, Rani, to my next question to you. As a Restart program APJ leader, how do you see the program contributing towards women's career and economic growth, not just in India, but across APJ in countries, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia? Please give us any specific examples that you're proud to quote, and what we can, Women India can look forward to.
Oh my God, there are so many from your She-Dares cohort itself. I don't have to go outside. But I think the Restart as a program, as Andrew mentioned earlier, is catered to be for individual demographics, for diverse audiences of types. Because the program is structured the way it is, it actually helps diverse audiences, diverse demographics, people like women returning to work, but also women who are in career, wanting to career transition. And I think one of the biggest value adds from Restart is the skills development and the career transition training. Restart alone isn't going to achieve all of that. I think it's with the communities like Aspire for Her and the partner ecosystems that you work with that provides it. So we've got so many examples. But I want to say one of the issues.
Sorry, Rani, you're speaking on mute, I think.
I just mute myself. Sorry. Is that okay? Did you hear me at all?
Yeah, earlier we.
Okay. So the second thing that I will say is the tech industry has historically been very male dominated. We all know that, leading to a significant gender gap. When we decided, you know, how are we going to make, if there's one thing that we want to do from a diversity perspective, what would that be? Is to actually have the program play a vital part in supporting women participation in technology. So we made that intentional decision. And as a result, what we are seeing is incredible stories and incredible communities coming together to help. I knew of somebody who had been working in a restaurant environment, and she was a cashier in McDonald's. And, you know, this is in Australia. She then found out, she went to have babies, 3 of them, beautiful family that she has. And she said, I'm going to come back. But she always has the urge to do something in cloud. So she actually went, did her studies, and realized that at the first strike she wanted to do Restart, she didn't have the right base level skills. So she went away and she got the base level skills, came back and participated in Restart, and eventually started working for Accenture in Australia. We have phenomenal success stories. We recently had a success story that Pratik had lifted up of a person in Philippines who did the same thing. Nothing to do with tech, was passionate about it. But you know what? She also realized she wasn't going to be a coder. Like, she didn't want to actually do coding, but she was an extremely good salesperson. So she recently got a job as a sales and marketing lead for cloud services in a large tech company. So there are many, many roles. And I just want to emphasize that creating that economic independence is one of the priorities for us with the program for women. So the Restart program opens those doors for women to enter the high growth and very lucrative careers in technology. And when I will share something later with you guys about the roles that we are getting these women, it is actually quite phenomenal. So huge participation with not just short, but long-term impact in economic growth.
That's fantastic, Rani. Thank you so much for sharing the stories across the globe. And given the paucity on time, I'm going to move on to the next speaker, that is Amit Mehta. Amit, I would like to introduce you before I go to your questions. And thank you very much, Rani, once again. Amit is the head of AWS Training and Certification in India, where he is responsible for delivering and scaling cloud skilling programs to learners and organizations with the trainings designed by the experts at AWS. Amit works to empower learners at all levels to build with confidence and leaders to drive transformation and deliver results in their organizations. Amit has a passion for customer enablement with 25 years of experience empowering businesses in India. Prior to AWS, Amit held leadership roles in Dell EMC and Microsoft with experience in business growth, sales, and marketing within the technology industry. Welcome, Amit. Your first question here. The recent Gallup study says that advanced digital skills increases India's GDP by an estimated $507 billion. how do you see TNC, Training and Certification India's charter, contributing towards the nation's GDP, India's GDP?
No, thank you, Deepthi. And listen, thank you to all our participants today. Thank you to Aspire for Her, and clearly the great work that Prateek and Rani have done, and along with the team over the last 1 year. So I think this is really a privilege to launch it this year again. So clearly, so if you see what's really happening, folks, this is the India decade. India is likely to be $1 trillion digital economy by 2026. And if you just see other stats outside of what came out of Gallup, there are potentially 14 million jobs just coming from cloud computing by 2026, and these are direct and ancillary jobs. 14 million just out of cloud computing. So as Rani said, we are in an environment. I've been in the industry for 29 years. Never has there been a case where the demand outstrips supply. We have traditionally been producing a lot of engineers, but this is the first time in many, many years where demand outstrips supply. So I think the opportunity to generate and fill those 14 million jobs across our partners, customers, and the industry at large is the opportunity that we're looking at. The other thing that you should be aware of, by the end of 2030, AWS investment in India is going to be about $16.4 billion. So that's the task that myself and my team are anchoring, which is to really see how do we help bridge the industry gap. And that is why our commitment is to see how many cloud engineers, cloud architects can be released in the economy and help our customers fulfill these roles. And that's the massive task in front of us, and that's the purpose of living. And our way of doing that is, one, obviously, to look at diversity initiatives like this. And you'll be surprised that today, just from a woman perspective, every company has a diversity and inclusion initiative. And when we meet our customers and partners, they're saying, listen, we don't have enough candidates to recruit from. And that to us is the challenge for her in AWS.
Absolutely. I think you pretty much answered my next question, but I will still ask you because it's worth repeating the answer for this one. What inspired you to collaborate with Aspire for Her, which led to the launch of Tech4Her community in India in support of cloud skills education for women?
No, so I think first, I think our visions aligned. At Amazon, we have two principles, leadership principles. And I encourage you to look them up. One is think big, and thinking big is really about how do you build a vision which is at scale. And India is all about population grade scale. It's not about enterprise scale. It's population grade scale. And therefore, any initiatives that we put into market has that lens. The second leadership principle is success and scale brings broad responsibility, and that's where it's giving back to the community. So when we look at our leadership principles and we look at the leadership ethos of Aspire for Her, there's a perfect fit. When Madhura and I were discussing, she said we want to add 1 million women to the workforce by 2025. I thought that vision aligned to both of our leadership principles, and that's why I think there was a natural fit. And I think the second part, for any community, there are three important things. One is access to the community, having the ability to reach out to different community members across stakeholders, across cities. The second is engagement, building that engagement, because any community can only sustain insofar there's enough engagement. And the third one is nurture. And I think in the last year that we spent, our partnership with Aspire for Her has just grown in these three dimensions: access, nurture, and engagement. So at the end of last year, we were 66,000 strong, 300 women placed. But my challenge to this team here is, and those of you who have joined us today, 321 of you, my challenge to Aspire for Her and Deepthi and us is to get 25,000 women certified. And today the team tells me that it is not possible to do so. So if there's one challenge I want to throw at you and all of you, let's take a goal of 25,000 women certified, ready to be then connected to potential job opportunities in the industry. Not 300, not 500, not 1,000, 25,000 by the end of this year. Back to you, Deepthi.
Thank you, Amit. That's very, very inspirational. And again, as you said, success and scale brings responsibility. Very, very true to that statement. So I would like to quickly quote Michelle Obama here. No country can ever truly flourish if it stifles the potential of its women and deprives itself of the contribution of half of its citizens. I think this is a perfect statement for what we're trying to achieve here, Amit. I think it aligns with the great leaders in the world. Thank you very much, Amit, for your time. And I would like to quickly request you to launch the upcoming AWS learning events that we are having from June to August 2023. This is just the first calendar. Many such calendars will be launched. Keep an eye out for this. Amit, over to you. Amit, I don't know if you're able to hear me. Amit?
Hey, Deepthi, you're breaking up. I don't know whether it's me.
Yes. If you want to just launch the slide and the trainings, upcoming trainings.
Yeah,
Okay.
so for those of you who have joined, so one clearly, we have an opportunity in starting month of June. The slide here, Deepthi.
I think it has just come up, Amit.
Are
Hello.
you
I'll
not
jump
able
in.
to
I
see
think
the slide?
I'll jump in. I'll jump in, Deepthi, because I think Amit's connection is failing him a little bit.
Okay. So
Amit, I think
folks, the way to start on an AWS journey is to go through.
Yeah.
So I've seen a bunch of questions in the chat. Where do we start? How do we register? So I think the starting point of any cloud journey within AWS is through cloud dates and the times, and we'll be sending out questions. And you can pick any of the dates and the time that work for you. So this is Cloud Practitioner Essentials. Will essentially tell you about AWS, what are the different services, how do you connect, what are the different combinations available. So I think given that we've got the deepest and the broadest portfolio in the industry, I would really encourage you to spend some time here. And then there are a bunch of webinars that we're having which are aligned to service level. So for those, for those of you who are more developer oriented and you want to build on architectures which are serverless, there's a webinar on the basics of AWS serverless starting 23rd August. Now, what you should know is the following. For the 60 members who are starting first off in the Restart cohort, those are funded by us. That doesn't stop any one of you to to register on any one of our webinars and at least have access to this information. So there's given the scope of what we are trying to address, there's only so many people we can fund for free. But that should not come in the way of you building your cloud career, because there are subsidized pricing options that will be also made available through these cohorts. So keep looking out for those. So if you don't find your name in the first 60, don't get disheartened. There'll be 4 more coming through the year, and outside of that, there'll be subsidized programs also being available. So make note of these dates and times, and ensure that at least you sit through these sessions. Thanks. Back to you, Deepthi.
Thank you, Amit. I know we are short on time, but I'll quickly run through the next slide. Aditi, if you can move to the next slide, please. So Amit gave us a lofty goal of certifying 25,000 women this year. Just to begin with, for those of you who are already trained on cloud technical essentials and interested in taking CPE certification, we are giving 20 vouchers. So please reach out to Aspire for her team. Those of you who are prepared with cloud learning, please grab the opportunity and take your certification, and many more to come in the coming months. Over to Rani now. I would like to invite Rani to talk to us about the Restart program, so that the audience here get to understand a little bit more about what Restart program is all about and how they can take advantage. Over to you, Rani.
Thank you. I'll run through this quickly because I know we are time pressed. So if we go to the next slide. So for those of you who have not gone into detail of the Restart program, we can go to the next slide. Okay, so the Restart program is really us in AWS building a pipeline for diverse cloud talent. It is a 10 to 12 week classroom-based instructor-led program. And the training program, and we call it really a work placement program, provides all kinds of audiences and diverse backgrounds, in this instance, women, entry to mid-level career cloud positions. So it prepares them for it. So the program actually goes through the cloud fundamentals, some core services and employability skills, and gets everyone who's going through the program prepared for the cloud practitioner certificate, which is also provided, and then ready to connect with the employers. So it's fairly intensive, but you don't need to have a tech background to do the program. There is an learner intake assessment that we do, and we can provide more guidance on the learner intake assessments. Next slide, please. So just a quick deep dive on what you will actually study in the program. There are several things. So the first pillar is Cloud Foundation. Cloud Foundation is the very basic of foundation, not much about AWS, but every technology that you need to get a little bit of an understanding of before you do learn about the AWS core services. And now, if the journey from becoming a cloud practitioner to an associate is a 10-step journey, let's assume, this program actually takes you through to the 3rd or 4th step journey, but we bring you back to the cloud practitioner so that you can arm yourself with a certification that does amazing things to your own confidence and motivation, especially for those who haven't done anything in tech before. So that is part and parcel of the program. And then the career trajectory, as you can see, is all of those roles that you are seeing on that screen, from very tech-based roles to business adjacent roles that are supporting roles for those tech roles. Anything, company that is going through cloud and digital transformation, any role that they will require can be prepped through this program. Now, the huge difference between this and many other programs is the fact that you get 100 hours of hands-on labs. This builds your confidence for your day one on the job. You are actually working through problem solving and all of those technologies on a virtual lab scenario. Not only that, all the amazing things that Aspire for Her brings for you with the mentoring and all of that, but also soft skills. There's project management skills, as you can see, a lot of those employability skills is prepped. Now, hold on, folks, that's not all. There's 6 pairs of steak knives. No, I'm kidding. What all of you graduates also get is 6 months of postgraduate resources to continue to hone your skills as you are looking for those jobs and are being placed in those jobs so you don't lose that tact. So one thing that I want to say is, before I end, is to say, give you a little bit of data. 75% of our graduates who have secured their jobs in September from 2021 to 2022 secured their first position within the first month of graduation. That's pretty phenomenal. 82% of the reported jobs in 2022 were full-time jobs and some contract jobs. 7% of the 2021 graduates who reported they secured a role after graduation. Very few of them, I think only 7% who said they are in career transition, which meant 93% of those people who got jobs were happy with the jobs and were still in jobs. So one other data that I will say is across the region, almost 9 of every 10 roles that were secured by Restart graduates was the first cloud or technical role for our graduates, which is pretty amazing. And 91% of the jobs reported by graduates were cloud related or non-cloud technical roles for those organizations that are still transitioning in their digital transformation. I just wanted to share that with all of you, and that's really the program.
Thank you, Rani. And over to you, Ruchita, for the next segment.
Thank you so much. I think this was inspirational, motivational. Thank you so much, Andrew, Amit, Rani, Deepthi, for sharing these words. ecosystem, as well as providing opportunities to our community. And as Madhura mentioned, definitely a big hands for Prateek for really working hard at the other end. We've seen a lot of impact that came out through the first couple of cohorts. There have been a lot of learning opportunities, but what we saw actually as part of SHEDAS 1 were countless stories of transformation. We had a lot of requests coming in from women who wanted to be a part of the cohort, how they could go in for learning. Every month they waited eagerly for the learning opportunities. There was one word which was common to the entire community who would, who passed out of all these batches. And can anybody put in any word in the chat box as what is that one word which was common to everybody who took the Restart curriculum? There are a lot of women from our cohort 1, confidence, actually that was it. That was unanimous with everybody who did the Restart, which we checked, and we came to know that it is confidence that really made a difference in their life. Besides that, we would also like to now move on. First, because we've started with a new community, and I'm just trying to get everybody's attention back. What's the name of the new community? Can we see that in the chat box? Tech4Her. Okay, this is good. Everybody is really attentive to know which are the courses. Besides the curriculum that's going to move on, we are also launching the second poll. It's also to know that besides all the technical course, what exactly are you looking from the community? May I request my team to launch the second poll? And you can make multiple choices over here. It's not just one. So feel free to tick as many boxes as you wish. Can I have the second poll, please? Are we there, Aditi?
I think there is one error. Let me just fix that.
No problem, no problem. We'll move on. We strongly feel at Aspire for Her, if she can see it, she can be it. And hence, moving forward, we would like to get you some real stories of women who were part of the first cohort. Okay, there we have the poll. No, this one is done. Can we have the second poll? Okay, what benefits are you seeking from the community? And please select more than one if you think it's applicable. Skill enhancement and development, career advancement opportunities, domain shift, restarting your career, networking opportunities, and personal. Okay, the poll is not visible, is what they're saying. Can you start it again? Okay, maybe we'll do it a little later. And hence, moving on, let me introduce Reena Gupta. Reena Gupta is a successful returnee after a significant 12-year career hiatus, despite facing hurdles in skill competition, time management, and low confidence. Reena worked hard to overcome these challenges. She reskilled herself in the ever-changing industry, completed upskilling courses from VMware, AWS, and Google, trained in virtualization, cloud computing, and Python. She actively networked with professionals and joined platforms like Aspire for Her and AWS SHEDAS to support her return to work. Today, after a year at VMware, Reena stands as a shining example of continuous learning and determination. Welcome, Reena. I would also like to say that I have seen Reena's journey and witnessed and seen how that confidence has really grown on her. Welcome, Reena.
Thanks, Ruchita. Thanks for holding me through and through from the beginning to now. Yes, so like as Ruchita has already mentioned, like I had a huge gap of 12 years. So it was like I was standing on the middle of the crossroads. There was a lot of ways in front of me, where to go, I didn't know. So yes, and when I thought, I just came across Aspire for Her, and that was the turning point in my life. Aspire for Her firmly holded my hands, and they provided a lot of opportunities. Like AWS was the best, which I got through. So there were a lot of technical skills which we learned through AWS, and we got those vouchers. They were like icing on the cake. We got through vouchers. We when it comes for free, you definitely want to go through it, right? So yes, we did clear all the exams, and the confidence was boosting up. Madhura, Ruchita, they were all doing that. And yes, and the best part was networking with fellow women. So we were seeing success stories through and through. The women were placing their messages of getting job here and there. So the motivation was increasing. We were getting inspired. And Aspire for Her was continuously providing us a lot of opportunities to learn and keep learning. There were Google certifications, which we grabbed and we finished them. So yes, our learning was enhanced in all the fields, like cloud, then coming to IT and all the fields we learned. And yes, and finally I got into VMware and happily working there. Thanks to Madhura and Ruchita and Aspire for Her team for holding us firm and tight.
Thank you so much, Reena. We are all very proud of your journey. And we look forward to having you as the ambassador at Aspire for Her. Reena is very active in also motivating the other returnees to take up upskilling as well as apply to the cohort. She's been phenomenal here. Thank you so much.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ruchita. And one more thing I should say, that Aspire for Her never forgets to appreciate the women who have already, like, they don't say just bye-bye, you have placed, okay, now say bye. They always appreciate. I still keep this shield on my table. I don't know if it is visible. I got this in one of the she dares AWS this year only in Mumbai. So yes, I keep this on my table. I get motivated it through and through. So this is one thing which I say, that they always appreciate. They keep calling them back and they appreciate that, yes, she did. The appreciation is always there. So that is what I'm always thankful to Aspire for Her.
Thank you so much, Reena, for sharing that. May I now request Aditi for actually launching the second poll, if we have that in place. It's also going to help us, make the other events and programs which are going to be most useful to you. Can everybody see the poll?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, there we go. This is like fastest finger first. I can see all these. Okay. Skill development. Very glad to see that this session has made a difference. Skill enhancement and development sees a good jump. Networking opportunities. Role shift. Okay, this is pretty good. Restarting your career. Yes, that's definitely part of it. As Amit mentioned, this is going to be the first cohort, but please stay tuned because there are going to be cohorts which are going to be launched. Those who've not made it at the first attempt, it's actually, there's a lot more of learning that you can do side by side. So you can keep yourself prepared till the next ones get started. Thank you so much, Reena. I'd now like to invite our other Restart member, and her name is Deepthi Joy. Deepthi Joy is a member of our Return to Work community at Aspire for Her. She was part of the first AWS cohort. She's made a comeback after 9 years into the industry and is currently working as an associate consultant at TCS. Here is something I would like to share about Deepthi, and these are not my words, but these are quotes which I'd like to put. I am providing AWS training since 2017. Lots of students completed training and passed the exam, but I have never seen this type of score report in my career. It's a miracle, it's hard work, it's magic. And do you want to know the name of this magician? Thank you, Deepthi Joy, for considering me as your trainer. What you achieved is a miracle. I think only 0.1% can do this. Big shout out for Deepthi Joy. She got 1,000 out of 1,000. Welcome, Deepthi. These are exactly the words of the trainer which I had saved. And I'm glad I saved it for this day. The audience here would like to hear your journey, Deepthi. Over to you.
Thank you, Ruchita ma'am, for the introduction. I joined Aspire for Her in 2021 as a Return to Work member, and Aspire for Her was, helping me set the right attitude to return to work. It was the soft skills training and various programs like time management or how you have to plan. I would say Aspire for Her prepared the ground for me to really, come back or make the comeback journey towards the workforce again. I had a break of about 9 years, and I kept reskilling. But again, like in all of the talks, the basic problem was that confidence to really start applying and face the interviews and, really make that big start or that plunge. And AWS Restart was like the turning point. So it actually gave me the confidence, we say like knowledge gives one the power and the courage to face the world. So I was really lucky to be part of the first AWS cohort, and the 10 to 12 weeks we had, all of us in my group, we gave 100%. And the curriculum was, because Rani took us through the curriculum, and all of you saw how it was. So it gave us an interaction and knowledge about the AWS cloud, and it also helped us connect with our past experiences, because we had sessions in Unix, Linux, and databases, all that. So that kind of helped us brush up with our past experiences. And then the best part was the peer community. I was in the tech cohort, and we were able to connect with people from all over India, and with similar tech backgrounds, and it helped us form study groups. And it was such an active group for those months. We kept teaching each other. We were learning from each other. And another best thing that I want to bring about this cohort is having been at home for like 9 years and taking care of the family, and this 10 weeks of classroom session was like a rehearsal for getting into work. So you were totally dedicated to your classes. You're away from all the other things that you had. So it helped not only transform me, but also my family and everybody around for my time to be away from a home. So it was the morning sessions, and then the afternoon, the study sessions and the labs and all that. So I gave in my 100%. So that the few months, helped my family, my kids to know that, okay, that I am going to be away, and they were all able to accommodate, and that helped my transition into, getting back to work. Like Ruchita ma'am said, we were able to give the certification exam, and when you clear that, your confidence really boosts. And we were able to meet, the recruiters, and we were doing it all together. And there was always the Aspire for Her team, holding our hands and never letting us feel that, you're alone in this journey. And like again, Reena pointed out, I also want to add the same. It's the journey with the AFH is like, it's not until, you have got back to work, but it's a lifelong relationship. We are always they're always part of us from when we, joined AFH. So I'm so glad and so thankful to AFH for the opportunity, and to Madhura ma'am and Ruchita ma'am for your vision for improving the gender diversity and helping women, basically giving the confidence and the right opportunities to use our potential and get back or start or, follow our dreams. I after the restart, within a month, I got placed in TCS as a assistant consultant. And because of the cloud background, again, I could get into a project as and I lead a support team which supports Cisco's cloud provisioning application. So although I'm not technically involved, but I'm still part of the cloud, and I'm really glad, that I was part of AWS again. So thank you, AWS and AFH, for always, and holding me from the day I joined AFH. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Deepthi, for sharing that journey. And I'm sure everybody in the audience is all motivated. I will also like to tell everybody that while Deepthi also had the confidence to return to work after the AWS cohort, today she was quite nervous about coming in today, but Deepthi, you did very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ruchita ma'am. Yes, I'm not used to, but then it is for AFH and I really wanted to do that. That's what I told Aditi. Yeah, public speaking, I'm not good, but since, AFH asked me, I'm willing to do anything, anything for you.
It's your heart that speaks and it's nothing else. And we are really glad that you've been a part of our community. And here you are as an ambassador for so many women who are looking out to you as an inspiration.
Yeah, sure.
I know we've all gone a little overboard because there is just a lot when it comes to AWS and the cohorts. But I would like to, there are so many questions. I'm just going to sum it up by saying that the members who've got shortlisted, within the next 24 hours, you will receive emails. Meanwhile, you'll also be part of a WhatsApp group and you'll know that you are part of the first cohort. To those who couldn't make it to the first cohort, there are going to be many opportunities to be part of other cohorts. So just hold on and wait. However, there are a lot of learning opportunities that were shared by Deepthi and as mentioned by Amit. As part of the Tech4Her community, each of you will receive emails regarding the learning opportunities as well as the next set of sessions that keep happening. Besides that, we are very active on all our social media, so do follow us over there. There is something for everyone over here and nobody needs to feel disheartened. 25,000 certifications. Get your sisters, get your daughters, get your mothers, as many as you feel, because learning is this time a very, very strong part of Tech4Her. And with that, we are almost at the end. And while Aditi is going to share our last two polls, I would like to, actually, I'm going to be stealing Chandra's, quote over here, but I really liked it, so I have to mention about it. अगर मेरी उड़ान देखना चाहते हो तो आसमान से कह दो और ऊंचा हो जाए फिर मेरे उड़ने का अंदाज देखो. That is what Chandra had mentioned and I really love that quote and I'm stealing his quote. And learning is definitely as part of this year's project. Please feel free to learn as much as you want. If you're looking out for more, please reach out to us. We would be happy to share all the other opportunities that are there. A lot more who've joined us, not only from India, but even outside the country. Thank you so much for cherishing and valuing Aspire4Her. I would definitely like to thank all our presenters, panelists, and for the community who's come in at this hour, in spite of this being holiday time in India. The last words, remember together, we dare to create a more inclusive and diverse tech industry. See you all next time. And let's all say together, Tech4Her. We can have a photograph if each one of you is more than happy to open up and share your videos. That would be great to have the first video of the launch. Okay, there I see. Lovely. I can see now. I can see Soumya, Mahima. Okay, I see new faces also. Shivani, Geeta. Lovely. Can I have, okay, Shilpa is also here. Can we have some pictures, please? Do let us know once the pictures are taken. Aditi is is part of the team and she is really busy looking at it. Okay, as Madhura says, let's go for the pictures.
We all do this. This is such a wonderful moment and we'd love to celebrate it with all of you. Fantastic. I can see some hands going up in V. Thank you, Anusha. Thank you, Geeta. Thank you, Neha. Thank you, Shiva.
I have never seen so many women with their cameras on.
It's Tech4Her.
During any of the other sessions. This is like the first time and it's so cool. Welcome everyone.
Aditi, thank you for all the hard work. I think without Aditi, a lot of the work that we do would not have been possible. And Ruchita, I think yet another fantastic launch. And our targets keep getting bigger, and we're not talking about it. You heard Amit Mehta say it himself. So please believe us when we say that we want to truly change the world and do it with you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's so wonderful seeing all of you. And I would like to quote Malala Yousafzai here. Do not wait for someone else to come and speak for you. It's you who can change the world. Malala Yousafzai.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for the session.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. And don't forget to register on Tech4Her and be a part of our community.